I'm Martina Di and today I'm going to talk about the sculpture I saw this winter in London at the Tate Modern Museum. The artist who created the sculpture is Helio, who was a Brazilian neo-concrete artist. He was born in Rio de Janeiro in 1937 and he studied painting at the Brazilian Museum of Modern Art. And in 1959 he became involved for the first time in the neo-concrete movement. He died in 1980 at the age of 32 in Rio de Janeiro because of a stroke as a result of hypertension. And he was a neo-concrete artist, and neo-concretism was the Brazilian art movement born in Rio de Janeiro in 1959, and it was part of the larger concrete art movement. But the neo-concrete artists rejected the pure rationalist approach of concrete art and embraced a more phenomenological and less scientific art. So they were more free and they experimented a lot with light and colors and shapes. And his aim as an artist was to create a space filled with references to Brazilian life through the favelas. So his works exemplify the artist's interest in how visitors should participate with art and create culture on their own terms. And he once remarked that the museum was like the world, so it was everyday experience. In his life, he created 3 types of art. This is an example of an abstract geometry painting. This is one of abstract geometry sculpture. And this is an example of a large-scale site. And now we're going to talk shortly about the story of his art. He started with the White series, which were a group of white on white paintings. And oiticica with the White series explored ways of using Gaussian emulsion with oil-based paint to control the density of the pigment and produce different tones of white. And he's also experimented a lot with layering and brush techniques to maximize the effect of the light over the colors, in particular over the white color. And later he referred to the white as the ideal color light, the synthesized light of all colors. And during this period, he started also to analyze and study the colors, and he referred to this time as color time. And then he integrated the results of his research of the color time into the bilaterals, which were paintings in space, and he called them bilaterals because they were new forms somewhere between painting and architecture. And he created first the bilateral equoli, which were made up of 5 squares arranged in space hanging from the ceilings. And the squares are composed of 2-tone white areas to create different tones of white and to suggest the virtual cubes. But then he created other types of bilaterals, which had irregular shapes. And all the bilaterals invite to exploration, because only by walking around them you can see the differences in color. And after his works on the bilaterals, he started to work on the spatial reliefs. So when he was 23, he wrote, "The experience of color, the exclusive element of painting, became for me the very axis of what I do, the way I begin a work. Only now does the complexity of the relationship between color and structure truly begin." And so he created the spatial reliefs, which were made up of sheets of plywood, and there were red and yellow hanging structures. And they were far more complex than the bilaterals because the sheets of plywood intersect, overlap, or fold over one another at oblique angles to create gaps called negative spaces through which light can pass. So they were more particular. And they rely on the viewer's participation because only by walking around them you can grasp the differences in colors, in shapes, and you can see all the aspects of the sculpture. And now we're going to talk about the sculpture I saw this winter in London. So the REL 036 1959. It was suspended from the ceiling, and only by walking around it I could see the differences in colors and shape on both sides. And it was created with two very similar colors chosen for the reaction to light. So it was like a red orange. And I was very struck by this because I really like the ability of the artist in creating something very easy, but at the same time very particular. So I really like the geometric aspect of this work and the idea of something that even if it doesn't change, it changes its aspect. And I think it's very important to always remember that everything in life can be seen by different points of view. And I think that this work exemplifies this idea of approaching problems and things in life. And now I'm going to show you a short video of this sculpture. So this is the video I took in London. And by walking around, the shape totally changes and it's very strange. And so that's it. Thank you for your attention.